Chapters 180 to 182. The golden ki aura surrounding GT Goku's body became more and more intense, no longer resembling the jet-like ki aura from before. Instead, it turned into strips of golden pythons, spreading in all directions. Wherever the ki aura went, it gave people an extremely powerful sense of oppression. At this moment, GT Goku's appearance had also undergone a great change. Somewhat similar to Super Saiyan 3rd, his eyebrows had disappeared, and his brow bone was high protruding. The originally black hair had completely turned silver, and just like Super Saiyan 3rd's hairstyle, it hung down to his waist. His pupils turned golden, and his eyes became sharper. Okay, what a powerful aura. Is this Super Saiyan V? It's unbelievable. If I had such power a few months ago, I would have easily defeated evil Broly and Rigger. GT Goku clenched his fists, feeling the universe-like power in his body, and said to himself, this power was ridiculously strong. He thought it should surpass evil Broly and Rigger at that time. Damn! Damn, Kakarot! He actually walks ahead of me every time. Even the form of Super Saiyan 5. He achieved before me. GT Vegeta gritted his teeth angrily. He looked at GT Goku in front of him with envy and jealousy. Obviously, their training was not different at all. But why was Goku always walking in front? Watching Super Saiyan V's form, GT Vegeta felt his self-esteem was hit again. That's awesome, Goku! Is this what Super Saiyan V looks like? That's awesome, Dad! Krillin, Piccolo, and Gohan were all extremely excited. After seeing Goku push his limits once again, they were not jealous but felt happy from the bottom of their hearts. The stronger Goku was, the safer they would be in the future. If they met those powerful opponents again, they could easily deal with them. Okay, Goku, just slowly control your emotions. The biggest advantage of Super Saiyan Phi is that once you can control your emotions by yourself, you will be able to prolong the transformation time. After these 7 or 8 months of training, your control over emotions has become more and more perfect. As long as you keep doing this, you will be able to attain Super Saiyan Vi form for a long time in the future, the old Supreme Kai explained patiently. Because of the fighting power of those evil guys he saw before, he realized that if there were no guys like Goku to protect this universe, then this universe would be in a very dangerous situation. With the power of their Supreme Kai alone, there was no way to protect this universe. Therefore, after Goku and the Saiyans' strength was improved, they could also maintain the stability of this universe. Okay, Grandpa Kai. GT Goku nodded quickly. Then the aura calmed down a little bit. This showed that his control over his emotions had become more refined. On the other hand, GT Vegeta was very angry. In this way, in the training space, time passed day by day. 3 years had passed in the blink of an eye. Everyone also had their own breakthroughs. Even Goten attained a new form. More importantly, his mastery of the power of laws had become more perfect. Within 3 years, it had also been improved and transformed. Now he felt that his laws were not weaker than Zeno's. At the same time, he also mastered another more powerful ability. This ability could be said to have borrowed the ideas of the dragon god Zalama. In the fan-made animated movie Anime Wars, the dragon god Zalama could completely ignore the attack of all gods, including Zeno. He had developed an ability called Dark Siphon. This ability could absorb the opponent's god ki in battle and then transform it into his own power. It was precisely because of this powerful ability that Zeno was powerless in the battle between Zeno and the evil demon gods. The ability that Goten had developed in the past 3 years was similar to the Dark Siphon of Zalama, but more powerful. His siphon ability could absorb the divine ki of gods, the demonic ki of demon gods, and even the ki of mortals. Coupled with the power of the laws he had comprehended, he was almost an invincible existence. Everyone had their own breakthroughs. Goten also left the training space with everyone. Even if they trained in it, and the flow rate of time could indeed be extended, the results of the training were very good. But if the training was too long, it would have the opposite effect. After coming out of the training space, Goku and Vegeta did not slack off their training at all. Although they had each broken through their own limits, GT Goku and GT Vegeta had achieved Super Saiyan V form. The other Goku and Gohan also mastered the perfected Ultra Instinct. As for Vegeta, he had mastered the perfected Ultra Ego form. It could be said that everyone's strength had been greatly improved. But they were not satisfied. When encountering those absolute strong men, they were still somewhat powerless. If they wanted to really compete against those guys, they must go through more training. But Goten was different from them. Because he had mastered the Dark Siphon ability and the power of laws, even if he met Zeno and the Grand Priest now, he was more than 60% sure that he could defeat them. So for now, there was no need to squeeze his body all the time. Because of the peculiarity of his bloodline, his strength would be greatly improved every moment. After returning home, Goten also accompanied the pregnant Videl all the time. After coming out of the training space last time, he got to know that Videl was pregnant. So during this time, Goten and Chi-Chi were also taking good care of Videl. Time passed day by day. 3 years had passed in the blink of an eye. Originally, Goten thought that after he killed Marcus, Zalama would come to avenge him. But those guys didn't move at all. Even Zeno and the Grand Priest never found this place. In this way, he was more or less at a loss. In addition to his previous time in the training space, there had been no battles for 6 years, which was a bit itchy, to be honest. However, such a day was not bad. In the Sun family's villa in West City, a kid in his early 2 years was training seriously with a small face. This child was Son Gozen, the son of Goten. It was the cheesy name Goku came up with. Goten would do as the Romans do. Although he was only 2 years old, his strength was not weaker than Goku and Vegeta. Because he inherited Goten's excellent genes, Son Gozen was born with perfect Ultra Instinct and Ultra Ego. He also inherited Goten's fused bloodline. He could easily transform into the form of Super Saiyan. He just didn't know if this kid had inherited his power of laws and Dark Siphon ability. TN, I didn't know what to do with the name Sun Wukong, so translated it to Son Gozen, because in latter chapters Goku referred to him as Little Zen, and Goku from Super Timeline also used that same Chinese TL term to call Zeno. Sun Wuhan, Gohan, Sun Wukong, Yekker Goku, Sun Wutian, Yekker Goten. That's why I say it's a pain to translate MTL fanfics, and some TLs just throw it as it is or use wrong names. Those TLs are insta turn-off. Goten, this child is really worthy of being your son. He trains harder than you. At the age of only 2 years old, other children probably don't even know how to play with mud. He actually has the power to disdain the whole world, Videl said to Goten, looking at Gozen, who was training seriously. This child perfectly inherited all the advantages of Goten. Or it could be said that the genes of the Sun family were too strong. It was as if he grew out of the same mold as Goten, and the hairstyle was exactly the same. At the same time, he also inherited all his abilities. So just after he was born, he had the strength to surpass most fighters on Earth. "Come on, son, don't train for now. Let Daddy hug you," Goten said, raising Gozen high. Sometimes he still found it incredible that he actually had a child of his own, and the talent of his own son seemed to be stronger than his own. He just didn't know if Gozen had inherited his own power of laws and system. But even without inheriting these, as long as he gave him enough training and time, one day he could definitely surpass himself. Zenchan, my precious son," Goten loved this little one. Although he had great power, he would always be little one in front of him. It was quite comfortable to hold the chubby kid. "10FK, bring the flamethrower. I want to yeet this chapter out of existence. It's effing too cringy." Whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, several piercing sounds sounded. Goku and Gohan suddenly appeared. "Grandpa! Grandpa!" Gozen obviously liked Goku very much. Every time he saw Goku, He was very excited. "Yo, Zen-chan, you've grown a lot taller, and you seem to have grown a lot stronger. He. Goku took Gozen in one hand with a very affectionate expression on his face. Even with Gohan and Goten, he obviously didn't have that level of intimacy. This might really have something to do with being a grandparent. After a while, GT Vegeta and the others arrived too. These guys came around every few days. The main thing was to ask Goten to give some pointers on their training. After all, after reaching Super Saiyan Phi, Ultra Ego, and perfected Ultra Instinct, their strength seemed to have reached a bottleneck period. In the past 3 years, although their basic combat strength had improved, no more breakthroughs had been made. "Yo, Zen-chan, do you want to accompany Grandpa to exercise? Grandpa hasn't fought with Zen-chan for a long time." After being intimate for a while, Goku couldn't wait to spar with Gozen. Because Goten's strength was too strong, if it was a sparring match, there would be no comparison at all. But Gozen's strength was also very strong, and he possessed similar abilities as Goten, so he was a good opponent. Goku's character was like this. He didn't care about the age of the opponent at all. Anyone having strong power would make him feel excited. "Humph. This other Kakarot is really a brainless idiot. You actually want to fight your own grandson," GT Vegeta said with a look of disgust. Although he knew that Gozen possessed very powerful power, fighting with a 2-year-old child was something he didn't want to do. Even if Gozen inherited the skills and abilities of Goten, he was just a 2- or 3-year-old child after all. His combat experience was simply not enough. How could he be their opponent? "Vegeta, don't underestimate Zen-chan's strength. Although he is only 2 years old now, he has great power, and he is no weaker than us," GT Goku said, seeing Vegeta's disdainful expression. Because he had fought Gozen before, he knew Gozen's power very well. "Yeah? What kind of power can a 2-year-old kid have?" The two Vegetas obviously didn't believe him. No matter how strong his genes were, he was just a 2-year-old child after all. How could he become the opponent of Super Saiyan 5? This was simply a big joke. "Since you don't believe it, just wait and see, Vegeta. Wait a while, Zen-chan's strength will definitely exceed your expectations." GT Goku didn't argue too much, but told Vegeta to wait and see. Goten and Videl didn't stop the two of them because they both knew Gozen's strength. Even for the current Goku, who had mastered the perfected Ultra Instinct, it was still impossible to defeat Gozen. At this time, Goku directly transformed into Super Saiyan Blue form because he knew Gozen's strength very well. If he didn't use his full strength to fight, it was very likely that he would be defeated by Gozen after a few rounds. "Grandpa is amazing! The transformation looks so cool!" Gozen looked excited. He said that Grandpa was amazing. But then he directly became the legendary Super Saiyan 2 form. For a moment, his pupils turned golden. Vibrant green aura flames surged around his body. At this time, Gozen's aura shocked everyone because this aura was indeed very powerful. "It's hard. Unbelievable, this kid can actually become a Super Saiyan, and this force is indeed very powerful." After feeling Gozen's power, the two Vegetas were instantly surprised. They were also shocked. Why didn't they feel such a powerful power from Gozen before? Was it all hidden by Goten? Otherwise, it was impossible for them not to feel it. "Come on, Zen-chan, don't be polite to Grandpa. Use all your strength to fight with me." Goku beckoned to Gozen, indicating that he must attack with all his strength. Otherwise, this battle would be too meaningless. "Okay," Gozen nodded. Then his eyes suddenly changed. Whoosh! In the next second, his body disappeared like a ghost. When he reappeared, he was already in front of Goku. At this time, Goku didn't react at all. The small fist landed on Goku's stomach. Boom! Pop! The moment the low crash sounded, a mouthful of blood spurted out directly from Goku's mouth. Then, his body flew out directly upside down. In the backyard of the villa, Goten had already set up an energy barrier. Without it, Goten's intense training methods would have likely destroyed the entire Earth by now. Goku's body slammed into the energy barrier before bouncing off and crashing to the ground. A sharp, searing pain shot through his abdomen. But within moments, Goku stood up again, a helpless yet wry smile on his face. The gap between him and Goten was still too vast. His own grandson was truly incredible. Even though he had only used his Super Saiyan Blue form just now, he suspected that even if he activated Ultra Instinct, he might not be able to defeat the boy. "Grandpa, are you okay?" Goten rushed over, his face filled with concern. "I'm fine. You're really amazing, Zen-chan. Sometimes I even feel like your strength has already surpassed your father's," Goku said with a shake of his head. Although Goten's punch had been overwhelmingly powerful, Goku had already recovered. He still didn't fully understand just how strong Goten had become, which made him believe that Goten's strength might be on par with Goten's. Are you kidding me?" Vegeta's face darkened as he stared at Goku in disbelief. A mere 2-year-old actually managed to defeat Kakarot in Super Saiyan Blue? Even if he's some kind of prodigy, isn't this a little too ridiculous? It took us decades to achieve the Super Saiyan Blue form. Yet this brat, who hasn't even undergone any proper training since birth, already possesses such overwhelming power? TN. Get Gud scrub, he drank that premium China milk. Watching Goku fall so effortlessly, Vegeta found it hard to accept. Of course, he understood that this was a world where bloodlines played a crucial role. A strong bloodline inheritance meant that the next generation would naturally be born with immense potential. Goten and Trunks were prime examples. In just a few short years, they had attained the Super Saiyan transformation, something Goku and Vegeta had struggled for decades to achieve. This was the advantage of lineage. If Goku and Vegeta had never unlocked Super Saiyan themselves, then Goten and Trunks would not have been able to transform at such a young age either. And now, Goten had inherited many of Goten's traits. Vegeta understood all of this, yet it still stung. He and Goku had spent years training relentlessly, only to be effortlessly surpassed by a 2-year-old. It was a humiliating reality. It reminded him of the stark contrast between individuals in the real world. Some people could work tirelessly for decades and achieve nothing. Others were simply born at the top, destined to never experience hardship or struggle. It was unfair, but it was also the truth. "It can't be helped, Vegeta," GT Goku said, attempting to comfort him. "That kid Goten is just too strong, so it's no surprise that his son has this kind of talent. If they compared themselves to everyone stronger than them, they'd only drive themselves crazy." "Humph," Vegeta scoffed, curling his lips in frustration. There was nothing he could do. This brat had simply won the genetic lottery. Originally, Vegeta and the others had planned to stay, chat, and have dinner before heading out. But after what had just happened, neither of them was in the mood to stick around. So, after a brief conversation with Goten, they left in disappointment. The sheer strength of a child was a harsh reminder of the massive gap between them and the true powerhouses of the universe. Without exceptional talent, the only way to grow stronger was through relentless, grueling training. There was no other way. Meanwhile, in a different dimension, 6 figures floated in the air, their presence exuding a sinister aura. "Lord Zalama, the timing still seems a bit premature," said Demigra, the evil demon god, his tone cautious. "While we possess immense power, and the Dark Siphon ability allows us to counter Zeno and the Grand Priest, those mortals who killed Marcus might prove difficult to handle. If we recklessly invade another dimension now, it will undoubtedly alert Zeno and the Grand Priest. If those two join forces with those mortals, we might not be able to keep up." Demigra's voice carried a mix of frustration and concern. For hundreds of millions of years, they had meticulously plotted their revenge against Zeno and the Grand Priest, but overthrowing them wouldn't be easy. If it were, they wouldn't have been forced to lurk in darkness for so long. Zalama, however, remained calm. "Your analysis is correct, Demigra," he acknowledged. "Based on our past assessments, now may not be the perfect moment to strike. But circumstances are always shifting. Waiting for the perfect opportunity is pointless." "Opportunities are created, not found." Zalama's eyes gleamed with an ominous light. "That fool Marcus may have been insignificant in my eyes, but his death still demands a response. Those arrogant mortals dared to strike down one of our own. They must pay the price." His voice was laced with cold fury. "Moreover, I've observed something interesting. Many of them possess divine ki within their bodies. That energy will serve as the perfect nourishment for us. If we absorb their divine ki, it could become a crucial force in our battle against Zeno and the Grand Priest." A sinister grin spread across his face. There was no such thing as a flawless opportunity. They had to take matters into their own hands. By eliminating those who had killed Marcus and harvesting their divine ki, Zalama believed they would gain the necessary strength to challenge even the mightiest beings in existence. Besides, they had already developed a way to counter Zeno's erasure power. And to truly deal with Zeno, Zalama had his own set of trump cards. "Yes, Lord Zalama!" Demigra and the others immediately knelt in allegiance. "If you have made your decision, we shall follow you to the death." TN. "Geez, I don't have any chapter stocks right now, so sorry for the late release. I no longer have the refined version of the chapters, so it's going to take a lot of time and effort to work on new ones. 3:30 a.m. right now, lol. Been busy all day on my research publication work."